everyone, and welcome to another YouTube podcast episode of Andy's Witchcraft by me, Tarot by Andy. I hope you are all having a wonderful day, and if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, you are enjoying the beginning signs of summer, but if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you'll probably be preparing and enjoying the beginning signs of the winter. With this being said, today's episode will be discussing Litha, which is the next holiday in the Wheel of the Year. Litha is in the Northern Hemisphere. It's celebrated between June 19th and 22nd. However, in the Southern Hemisphere, it is celebrated in December, usually around the time where the Northern Hemisphere will be celebrating Yule. So, for the purposes of this episode, I will be discussing the current weather and celebration as Northern Hemisphere, because this is where I live. However, if you are in the Southern Hemisphere, you can always come back to this episode and learn about Litha, or take notes, or find ways to celebrate in December when you guys do celebrate it. So, Litha is also known as Midsummer, and it is the longest day of the year for the Northern Hemisphere. And this is an important time because it's a time to celebrate Mother Earth's creation, which can include plants, animals, insects. And the reason for this is during this time, fertile energy is at its peak. Animals are mating, the plants are growing and thriving. You may be picking fruits and vegetables from your garden. And so Litha is a time to acknowledge and thank the earth for bringing its abundance. I would like to start this episode by discussing some mythology surrounding Litha in different traditions. So, in some pagan traditions, Litha marked the end of the Oak King's reign and the rise of the Holly King. And the Holly King overseed the world as the days gradually got shorter and the world descends into the cold dark of winter. And then after that, they would rotate again. The Oak King would reign, and then the Holly King would rest, and so on and so forth. So, Litha is when we welcome the Holly King and wish the Oak King some rest, if that is a tradition you believe in. Litha is also known to be a celebration of the Celtic goddess Danu. And according to Irish mythology, Danu was the universal mother of the Tuath De Danann. If you recall from my Fae episode, they are a tribe of ancient people in Ireland who believed to have invaded the country. This tribe ruled Ireland until Midsummer's Day, when they were defeated in war. And after that, they retreated to the hills and eventually became the fairy folk. So, Midsummer in some Celtic traditions is a day of celebration when the Tuath De Danann were defeated and retreated. However, it's also known as a time where the fairy folk pass into the human world at twilight and offer their blessings. So, because of this, similar to Beltane, Litha is known as a great time to work with the Fae. However, a word of caution, according to the research I found, was that folklore says that the Fae do tend to drag a human or two into their world on Litha night. So if you work with the Fae, be sure to work safely and use protection magic as well. You can go back to my Fae episode and learn how to establish boundaries with the Fae, banish unwanted Fae, and just ensure that you do not meet an untimely end, I guess. In Christian traditions, this time is used to celebrate St. John's Day, a day where we celebrate John the Baptist. And so if you are a folk practitioner or a ChristoPagan who works with John the Baptist, Litha is a great time to celebrate him and give him offerings, if that is something that interests you. To celebrate Litha, the Celtics also hold bonfires on high hilltops to celebrate the distance between the earth and the sun. So this is one great tradition or ritual that you could do, which I will discuss later. And the early Europeans took a more symbolic approach to midsummer rituals. So Typically in early European times, they sat a large wheel of fire and rolled it downhill. At the bottom of the hill, the wheel would roll into a body of water. The theory behind this is that the wheel is representative of the sun, and as it turns down the hill and is extinguished at the end, it's marking how the days are slowly growing shorter and shorter until we reach Yule, which is the shortest day of the year. So it is also speculated that Egyptians positioned the pyramids so that on the summer solstice, the sun could set exactly between the pyramids. So I don't know if this is true. I'm not really too familiar with Egyptian mythology, but or history, I guess this would be. It's not mythology. The pyramids do exist, obviously. But if you know for a fact that it's true, comment below. Or if you have other theories for this, comment below. This is just something I found interesting during my research. So at the end of the day, it's not really necessary that you believe in the folklore behind Litha or in gods or goddesses at all, especially if you are an atheist witch. You are perfectly valid, and you do not have to worship any gods or goddesses. The most important thing with Litha is to be grateful for the abundance in your life, appreciate the sun and the moon and the growing plants. So practicing gratitude and learning to be thankful for what's in your life and the food you have on your plate, and the wonderful creation that is around you, and that is enough to celebrate. The next section is that we are going to discuss is Litha associations. So for the element, it's associated with fire. You could tell that was a common theme from what listed above, with the bonfires, with the wheel that was set on fire. It's a very, obviously, a theme. For colors, these are all going to be colors associated with the sun and the earth at this time. So gold is number 1 for energy, power, prosperity, solar deities, strength, success, the divine masculine or the god, the sun, and wisdom. The next color is green. This is for abundance, calmingness, fertility, growth, new beginnings, and prosperity. Then we have orange for adaptability, communication, courage, creativity, energy, optimism, and success. Then we have red for courage, creativity, desire, energy, fire, passion, sexual love, strength, and willpower. White for cleansing, healing, innocence, peace, protection, and truth. And yellow for communication, creativity, happiness, intelligence, psychic ability, the sun, and willpower. So if you practice color magic, these are all great colors to use during this season. Next are some foods that are a symbol of Litha. The foods listed are honey, elderberry, strawberry, which makes sense since we just had the strawberry full moon a couple weeks ago. Fennel, thyme, fresh greens, and light wines. So that's more of a drink, but yeah, wine. Crystals. It's important to emphasize that if you do practice color magic, you can use crystals for this. So any crystals that are the colors that I listed previously, they will work for this time. So some examples would be emerald, aventurine, jade, citrine, topaz, amber, tiger's eye, and peridot. Symbols. So symbols for Litha are bonfire, sun wheels, and flowers, especially like sunflowers or dandelions, anything that looks or represents the sun. Animals that are symbolized during this time are birds, snakes, and pollinator animals like bees and butterflies. Plant associations are mugwort, elderflower, vervain, chamomile, lily, lavender, oak, fern, thyme, daisy, honeysuckle, and St. John's wort, which makes sense if the Christians celebrate St. John the Baptist, St. John's wort. It's, you could see the repetition in this. Some deities or spiritual beings, both Christian and pagan, that you can worship and venerate during this time. Ain, A-I-N-E. I should have looked up how to pronounce that. Aphrodite, Asherah, or the Holy Spirit. Astarte, Bridget, Danu, Flora, Freya, Gaia, Helios, the Holly King, Ishtar, Juno, Lug, Mother Mary, Ra, Sol, Thor, and Zeus. And the commonality between all of these are that you can really worship, venerate any deity, but especially any deity that is related to fire, the sun, beauty, nature, fertility, and abundance, which Litha is definitely representative. Finally, some spell work that are associated with Litha. Anything associated with healing, self-growth, self-love, and protection, especially fire magic, so candle magic, bonfires, lights, even LED lights you could probably use, especially if they can be different colors, like that could definitely be used. Anything associated with light and fire. And as you can see, all of these spell works are really focuses on the self. So really focusing on yourself. This is a perfect time to do some spell work that can benefit you, especially if you're the type of person like me to do, of course, with their consent, spells for other people, or prayers for other people. Now is the time where you could do prayers and spells for yourself, and really focus on your spiritual growth. So, since I am a ChristoPagan Buddhist, we're gonna talk about some Christo stuff, the Christian aspect, and then I'll go on to some Buddhist traditions during the summer solstice. So first, let's discuss some Bible verses that you can read that I find associate with Litha. The first one is Genesis chapter 8, verse 22. It says, "As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease." Psalm chapter 74, verse 17. "You have set all the borders of the earth. You have made summer and winter." The third one, this is actually my favorite one out of all of them. The Song of Songs, chapter 2, verse 12. "The flowers appear on the earth. The time of singing has come, and the voice of the turtle doves is heard in our land." The fourth verse is Proverbs chapter 10, verse 5. "He who gathers in summer is a wise son. He who sleeps in harvest is a son who causes shame." Proverbs chapter 30, verse 25. "Ants are creatures of little strength, yet they store up their food in the summer." Amos chapter 8, verse 1. "This is what the Lord God showed me. Behold, a basket of summer fruit." Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 10. "For the land that you are entering to take possession of is not like the land of Egypt, from which you have come, where you sowed your seed and irrigated it like a garden of vegetables." Matthew chapter 24, verse 32. "Now learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branches have already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near." And Isaiah chapter 18, verse 4. "For so the Lord said to me, I will take my rest, and I will look from my dwelling place like clear heat in sunshine, like a cloud of dew in the heat of harvest." So all of these, the reasons I associate with Litha is because they mention the common associations. So there was summer fruit, the key word here, summer, some storing food. So ants, they work to store food all year long, and then they stay underground during the winter. So there was mentions of that. The fig tree was a great one, where it talks about signs that summer is coming, showing. I love that because it shows the importance that they kept with following the seasons and celebrating them. I find that it's really great to see some biblical verses and kind of evidence to back up the celebration of the solstices. And then, of course, there was mentions of heat, some abundance with the flowers and the turtle doves. Some mentioned of the harvest, which we know the harvest isn't really celebrated until closer to the fall season. But here, harvest is also common in the summers, when your fruits are growing, especially the strawberries and your berries. Those are harvested during the summer because they're growing into fruition. So there was mentions of that. So all these verses have something to do with those common themes. So now that we talked about the Christian or the Christo aspect of my practice, let's talk about some Buddhist traditions that occurred during the solstice. In the Vajrayana tradition of Buddhism, the solstice is an important day to perform extensive aspiration and dedication prayers. An example of one of these prayers is the prayer of Kuntu Zangpo, or Kunzang Monlam. This prayer starts with Ho. Everything, appearance and existence, samsara and nirvana, has a single ground, yet two paths and two fruitions, and magically displays as awareness or unawareness. In the Kunzang Monlam prayer, we remember that awareness is the most important and decisive element in life. We resolve to understand how our perceptions of the world color our experience, and we resolve to recognize our own projections and delusions. This is about becoming alert to our relationship with emotions, acknowledging that the quality of our decisions, our relationships with others, and our experience of the world are all decided based on the quality of our awareness. Therefore, from the lens of the Kunzang Monlam, Buddhism could be regarded as functioning as a science, art, philosophy, poetry, and religion of clarifying awareness. So that was a long explanation for this prayer, but I feel like it's an important one because these are prayers that occur during the solstice when everything is around us and we're just admiring nature and our surroundings. Sometimes we get lost on how our perceptions affect our opinions and our mentality and our ability to be mindful. So it's an important time, especially with the changing seasons. It's important to be mindful of this. Another Buddhist tradition during the solstice is that this is a time to celebrate Mamaki Buddha. She is one of the 5 female Buddhas. A consort of Ratnasambhava, the hopes and aspirations, sufferings, and fears of all beings are her concern. So she cares for all living creatures, humans, animals, ghost spirits, gods, all of them. She cares for them like a mother does for her children. So her wisdom is embodying the wisdom of equality. So her attention is purely focused on what is common to all life, which is that we are all undergoing suffering and we all are trying to find our paths through this life of love and kindness, or hopefully I don't know. I'm hoping the majority of the population has this goal, but who knows with the world we live in today. But the point is, her attention is focused on how we're all living creatures who deserve respect, and we do not deserve to go through the sufferings of this life, but we do. And so her goal is to focus on these sufferings and help us heal from them. Mamaki's time of day is noon, and her season of the year is summer, which is why she is celebrated during the summer solstice. She is seen as all warmth. Like we said, she has a very maternal, motherly personality, and she is very maternal towards everyone. So This is a time we celebrate Mother Earth. It's the time we also celebrate Mother Mamaki Buddha. And so Mamaki's head and body are surrounded by auras of light. She is seen as very beautiful, serene, and relaxed. So again, very much these are common themes and symbolisms of summer solstice, which is why Buddhists like to celebrate her during this time. Finally, in the Buddhist tradition, during the summer solstice, it's seen as this. So times of light help us to refocus, reflect, see clearly, directly, without judgments into our shadows. So meditation here is huge. It's extremely important to meditate and to reflect on yourself, your suffering. I don't know what else to say. I'm repeating myself, but Buddhism is all about repetition until you get it in your head. So we're going to repeat until we get it in our head. So meditation is huge, especially as witches. We look into our shadows, shadow work. You see the commonality there? And so Buddhists do shadow work basically, but they don't really have a name for it. A lot of them just call it meditation and practicing mindfulness. So I'll leave it at that. Now, for the finale of this episode, we will discuss ways that you can celebrate Litha, the summer solstice, midsummer, whatever you call it. The first one, like I mentioned earlier, having bonfires or lighting candles. However, I do live in Canada, so I have to warn you guys, please be safe. We have had enough fires and destruction this year. If you are planning on doing a bonfire, do not leave it unattended. Same for candles. Actually, like bonfires, candles, anywhere in the world. But I would like my air to not have smoke in it anymore. So please do not leave it unattended. Make sure you have stones or sand surrounding the fire so that it doesn't spread anywhere, or like the metal bonfire pit, whatever you use, or just do it in your home fireplace. But again, do not leave it unattended. Thank you. That's it. that's my little spew. And the reason for this, they're associated with the fire element, the light, so makes sense. The next way you can celebrate is to take a nature walk. Of course, like we said, the best thing to do during these seasons is to acknowledge and respect Mother Earth for her creation, thank her for the abundance and the planet that we live on. And so taking a nature walk just to meditate and contemplate and just hear the birds chirping can definitely help you with that. The third thing that you can do, which I have done a lot the past month, is planting or gardening. This is the perfect time to start a garden or plant some potted plants. It's just a wonderful time, and you can see my plants have grown like weeds. It's insane. And they started, like my flowers bloomed within like 2 weeks of planting them. So it's really amazing to watch and be proud of your creation, which kind of helps mirror how Mother Earth feels about her creation. So I would definitely recommend doing that, it's easy to empathize with Mother Earth if you are in her position. So if you're caring for plants, you can be like, this is how Mother Earth feels for everything on the planet. Like, wow. So there's that. The next thing is to pick wildflowers. However, ask the earth for permission or ask the flowers for permission before picking them, unless they're already like detached or anything, or uprooted, whatever the word is. Definitely ask for permission, but if you're getting a good vibe that's saying, yeah, go for it, pick wildflowers, put them on your altar or make a art piece with it. Whatever you want to do, go for it. The next thing on the list is to gather berries, fruits, and herbs. So, like we said, all of the plants and fruits and vegetables are starting to grow into fruition. So now is the time to gather them. if they're on your property, you can gather them, but like don't go on strangers' properties being like, ooh, berries. Like, obviously permission and consent is key. So yeah. The next one is to make a floral wreath for your front door. So this is great because you can select the colors and the flowers, whatever you want to do. And you can even select ones that are great for protection. So herbs and flowers that are good for protection, just to protect your home from unwanted entities. This is great. Use your creativity. But the point of this is to just make use of Mother Earth's creation. So the flowers, the herbs, everything's growing for a reason. Make that reason, purposeful. Make something beautiful for your craft. And yeah. Similar to that, you could also make a wand. If you don't want a wreath on your door, you can make a wand using twigs and small branches. And you can add acorn tops, leaves, crystals, herbs, twine beads, glass, seeds, and anything else. Be creative. Again, the best thing you can do instead of a plastic wand is to make one yourself. And you'll see twigs and sticks everywhere. I find tons of twigs and sticks that are useful. So you might as well pick them up. They're already cut off the trees. Might as well make use of them. The next one is tea leaf readings. This is especially if you can use summertime herbs like dandelions to make dandelion tea, and then you do a tea leaf reading. This is a perfect time for that because herbs and flowers are just very key here. Any spell work or divination you can do involving nature, do it. Like, this is the perfect time for it. The next one is to retire your old spells and protections. So it's a great time to create new charms, spells, amulets, sigils, wards. Time to cleanse and start anew. Every so often you're gonna have to redo your wards, especially if you find that it catches negative energy and vibes very quickly. Now is the perfect time to do that, especially with the blessing of whatever the divine masculine you worship and the divine feminine. I find that it's really, really potent spell work when I get both the divine masculine and the divine feminine in my spells. Like, it's really powerful and really strong because although they are very different, whatever one is lacking, the other one has. So it's just, I find that it's beautiful. Some people don't like it, and that's okay. But I find that I always, like when I'm charging my water, I always charge it under the moon and under the sun to get the energy of both the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Some people are like, oh, what's the point? Now it's not moon water anymore. And I'm like, I'm not making moon water. I call it holy water. It's my own holy water made at home with the divine masculine and feminine. But, everyone has their preferences. So if you like that suggestion, I say go for it. You could also make sun catchers and hang them up to get some energy of the sun onto an art piece you made and into your room in a more beautiful way. You can charge crystals in the sunlight, so put them on your windowsill. Be careful not to leave them too long because the color of the crystal will fade if it's exposed to sunlight for too long. For some crystals, not all, but that's just a word of caution. As well, be careful not to, leave anything flammable by the window for too long on a hot day, because if you're in direct sunlight, that can cause a fire, so be careful with that. As I stated previously, meditation is crucial during this time, so meditate and give thanks for the blessings you have in your life. And when I say meditate, I don't mean close your eyes and sit in silence, cross legs, saying over and over again. No, you don't have to do that. Meditating can be pulling a tarot card and just contemplating on what the meaning of that card is throughout your day. Meditating could be thinking, why did I react that way? When this person said something and I got upset, why did I get upset? So I guess more I like the word contemplation. Contemplate on whatever it is you need to heal and think about during your day, and that is a form of meditation. The second last suggestion I have is to build a fairy house in the woods and invite the Fae's goodwill into your life. Again, if you want all the words of cautions, like, for example, do not say thank you. Do not accept gifts from them. You can give them gifts, but don't accept gifts they give to you, and so on and so forth. If you want more tips and cautions when working with the Fae, check out that episode. And yeah, hopefully that'll help you. And then finally, shadow work. Like I mentioned earlier, times of light help us to refocus, reflect, see clearly, directly, without judgments into our shadows. I repeated that quote, and it goes with the meditation, but I wanted to emphasize it one more time. During times of light, we have to acknowledge the times of darkness we went through, which can include our shadow selves. So that is all I have for this episode. If you liked it, give it a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more content. If you have any other ways to celebrate Litha, comment them below. And even if I listed something that you're planning on doing, comment below. I would love to see how you guys are celebrating this wonderful holiday of the Wheel of the Year. So, with that being said, thank you all. If you liked my content, you can follow my Instagram, which is at Andy's Witchcraft, my TikTok, which is at Tarot by Andy, and you can join Crystal Caverns, my server for witches from all crosses and paths of life. That'll be in the link tree, which I will also link below. And that is all. Blessed be everyone. Have a wonderful day, week, month, and year.